action.
Hello everyone. So, a couple years ago I decided I was going to make a Judas Priest jacket. So, we just got an iron-on thingamajig, whatever. Put it on there. It faded. It didn't really come out too well. Put my Motorhead patch on. My Judas Priest patch right there. And as you can see, it faded. It didn't come out too good. So one of the benefits of marrying an artist is the wife says, hey, I can do way better than that. So she hand painted this jacket right here, which now is my favorite coat because I'm the only one who has one. And then she made the battle jacket for my granddaughter, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Iron Maiden, which she's outgrown, but I'll keep that forever. So today's video is going to be about Judas Priest, my favorite band since I've probably been 13. So it's probably going to have to be 2 videos because there's a lot of stuff. So this right here is kind of my main listening area. Sad Wings of Destiny is my favorite album. I love the artwork. So I got the Sad Wings t-shirt on. And so it's kind of Priest themed over here. Got the 2 mini albums. These were the things from the 80s, the Chew Bops. I have the 2 Priest ones. This is the gold compact disc for Hellbent for Leather. That I just bought. I hadn't had that. It's one of those things I wanted. 24 karat gold. I've never played it. It's just a little cool piece to have. The cassettes for Priest, which I took a lot of them out right there. And then this is the albums for Priest on cassette in order. And just some Priest stuff, the KK book, etc. I'm not going to go through all the Judas Priest albums. Sad Wings, my favorite. There's some stuff from Sad Wings. This is probably going to have to be 2 videos because it's going to be really long. The box. Now, again, when you have a wife who's an artist, she made me this box that hand-painted Sad Wings of Destiny that I keep 45s and some other stuff, and then it's Iron Maiden on the inside. So before we get to more albums, I wanted to show the sign my buddy Mark made me. Now I call this down here in the Kingdom, and I would joke this is the Kingdom of Nye. Some people might know what that's from. And he had said, you know, that's copyrighted, you can't use that. And from the island of Domination, that's where he got the island of E-Domination from Ed with 2 Ds. So he made me the British steel sign, which I think the wife knows she's going to end up hand painting the hand that goes around it. So this will be in the middle. So that's a cool piece. Now he had told me, we had talked about that he was going to make that and send that to me. So that was cool. I knew that was coming. But in the same package when he sent me, the Iron Maiden one. So this is going to go, well, I'll wait till that's done because we're going to do a little art thing that's going to go on. So that's a really cool piece. That was a surprise. It's going to be added because Priest and Maiden kind of go together. So the first time that I ever saw Judas Priest was in 1982. Iron Maiden backed him up, and it was on the end of or the beginning of that tour because Iron Maiden had toured with Priest on Point of Entry, and then Number of the Beast came out. They got huge. But this is an album, Iron Maiden live in Portland, Maine, 1982. This was the concert. So when this, I found that this was released, it's an unofficial thing, but this is really cool because this was the Priest Maiden concert. The first time I ever saw Judas Priest, first time I saw Maiden, and this was the show in Portland, Maine that I was there. So that's just, it's not, super valuable or anything. It was, but it's just cool because to have one from the first time you saw the band. And I'll show one more Maiden thing. Poster I saved off the wall. Now this was the tour after. I'd sent both these to Lee from Noise Spectrum, his channel. He showed them. So I've had these back. This would have been 83, the next tour, at the Cumberland County Civic Center, Portland, Maine, with Fastway. And so I've had this. The Priest one, I took this off the wall at the Civic Center. You weren't supposed to take these. There was a Priest one I tried to get, and I had some other ones that have disappeared. The Priest one I'd love to find. I've never seen them again. I check online. But I have the Maiden one. So I'm going to go into some Priest stuff. Again, I'm going to have to make this 2 videos because Priest is the one band I try and have everything on cassette because I love cassettes. Everything on CD I'm not going to show, and everything on vinyl records. Except for 8-tracks, which I kick myself because I used to see the 8-tracks and I never bought them. I'm like, now I'd love to have them. They pop up once in a while and they're big money, and I'm not going to pay $50 for an 8-track just because I'd like to have it. So I'll probably, I guess I'll start with some of my concert tickets. So these would have been from Portland, Maine. Well, not all of them, because Priest is the one band I will say I have seen in Portland, in Boston, in Connecticut, in Florida. The last time they were touring, we went to see them on Firepower in Connecticut, and we were talking about going for a trip. They weren't coming back. Deep Purple was touring with them for a while. We were going to go on a little trip, but it was just too far, to drive 6 hours or something, so we just didn't do it. We'll see what happens if they come back when this COVID crap's all over with. But the first one, this was 1991 in Portland, so that would have been the Painkiller tour, which probably Rob Halford left. And honestly, I don't even really remember that because I'd moved out of Portland, was in Florida, and I came back. I must have seen that. I don't have a ton of memories of that. This one, 1150, this one was 1984, so that would have been Defenders of the Faith. This one is the Priest Maiden thing, 1982. This is my favorite from all time because it was the first time I saw Priest. And a little shout out, my friend Ed that I grew up with. When this came on the radio, I heard this. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I heard the ad, Judas Priest with Iron Maiden. And I used to have a tape. I taped some of the ads that used to come on for the shows. That's long gone. I'd kill to have that back. But I remember I called his house at like 1 in the morning, and of course his mother answered. She was not too thrilled. And I'm like, I have to talk to Ed. I have to talk to Ed. And then I told him, what's going on? His mother was not happy. And I'm like, Maiden's coming with Priest and Maiden. So that's what that one's from. So that was really cool. This one's from Florida, 1986. That was the Turbo tour. And Doc and I remember opened for them. That was a good show, even though the Turbo whole thing, we know the story. Now, the other ones I have in the albums, so I have more ticket stubs, but those are the ones that are separate. So I think I will go to cassettes, because I have a lot of cassettes. So this is the stuff that, I probably should have flipped them the other way. Metalworks. This is a comp. The Scoop 33. This is the Scoop 33 that I recently just bought because it was unopened back from the day. I reopened it. The Hero, which is my favorite artwork for Judas Priest. It's what from the coat. It was also called the Collection. So this would be the UK one, and that would be the American one. And then Hero is kind of a comp of Sad Wings and Rock'n'Rolla. So that's a Canadian tape of both. Then Best of, Sharpest Cuts, Super Best. This is like from Poland or Eastern Europe. That's somewhere there. That doesn't show up. This one's Living After Midnight. That's a regular one. I think that's on CD and stuff. This is one I made, and honestly, I don't even remember what's on that. It's just a comp of stuff that I made. Another comp, Delivering the Goods. A comp, British Steel, not the album British Steel, it's called. Beyond Metal, another comp. Rock'n'Roll and Other Hits, another comp. And then this tape is Priest Live in '81. On Scott Waters' channel, he just showed a vinyl of not this show, but the tour of this, which I didn't even know was out. It's one of those things, if it ever pops up, I'll buy it. This was the tour before I saw Priest on Point of Entry, but Point of Entry was really my introduction almost to Priest. Point of Entry was the first Priest album I ever bought. This is an awesome show. Sound quality in this is awesome. So if I find the vinyl, but I love this show. The Fight stuff, which is Halford's, and then Nailed to the Gun. I just put it in thing, but that's the single. The Halford solo stuff 4 and Resurrection. And Resurrection, if anyone hasn't heard that, that's the best Priest album that Priest never made. They really should have played some of the songs on this at some of their shows. It's probably politics won't let it, but that is a kicking album. And then just a couple extra copies of Sad Wings and Sin After Sin. Then, I'll show those after. My little spinning thing that I bought to put the albums in order, which isn't big enough now. So we get to the beginning. Rock'n'Rolla, which I love that cover. I love the old Priest look. That's Rock'n'Rolla, the alternative cover, the one that came out after. And I know they didn't like this artwork, but I don't know. That's way better. And this is a tape from Milan. That's a European tape. Then we've got Sad Wings, an American. And over here is Sad Wings, Milan. I think that's a Spanish one. American, Sin After Sin. Stained Class. That's a U.S. American, Hellbent for Leather. And then over here, the Canadian Hellbent for Leather, because the Canadian releases came on these chrome tapes. I've been trying to get these. So that's that. And then, of course, Hellbent for Leather was Killing Machine in Europe, or the rest of the world, I think. So that's it as Killing Machine. Then Unleashed in the East, American. Now I don't know if there was a Japanese tape of this that would be Priest in the East. I don't know. If there is, I don't have it. Then British Steel, American tape, and then British Steel, Canadian, which is on one of these chrome tapes. Canadians know how to do it right. Point of Entry. Again, this is the first Priest album that I ever bought, not the cassette. I bought it on album, which I still have, that copy of that album. I know that's not everyone's favorite, but I have a soft spot for that album. Point of entry, this is, again, Eastern Europe, Poland, somewhere over there. There's another point entry over there. Then Screamin', Canadian one, chrome. Which the sound quality on that kicks ass. That is really good. Then Defenders, American, Turbo, American, Priest Live, American, and then Priest Live on a 2-tape set. It's a European one. I can't remember if it's England or where that's from. And then Ram It Down, which Ram It Down, this tape, I had left Maine, went to Florida, came back. I didn't even know this album had come out. And I was in a little store in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, and they had just cassettes. And I saw this, and I was like, wow, what is this? Bought this, played this on my cassette player in the car, cranked it up, and that Ram It Down was a good song. But the rest is not so great. The drum machine on this, they used, it's horrible. That's one of the things. But this is still the same cassette that I bought back then. And then Ram It Down, this is another European one. Then we get to Painkiller, which is an American. And then I've got another Painkiller. I don't know if this is, that's an American or US one. And then this is a Middle Eastern copy, unofficial. I think it's from Turkey. I'm not sure. It's somewhere like that. But that's a Painkiller. Then Angel of Retribution, which I saw this tour. The concert ticket is in the album for that. Then Nostradamus, which when Nostradamus came out, I played it one time. I had the CD, and I was like, this sucks. And then I recently got back into it, and I said, there's some really good songs on that. So I didn't give that a chance, but I remember when it came out, I was like, what the hell is this? And then Redeemer of Souls, which is one I made, because I don't think there was a cassette release of this. That's a killer album. I went with my daughter to see Priest, this concert in Massachusetts. She wanted to see Priest. She'd never been to a metal show, so that was really cool to see. And then Firepower, their last one, which is a great album, which went with my wife because she'd never been to a metal show. Wanted to go to a metal concert. And then we've been to a couple now, but so we went to Connecticut to see that. So that's the cassettes. Where are we at for time there?
1845.
1845. All right. I'll do one more thing, and I'll have to split this up so it's not too long. This is my pin collection. Defenders, different. This cool thing from the 70s. Halford one. Oh, remind me, I have all the Magnet albums on magnets too. That'll be in there. Another Priest one. There's a cool shot, Halford. Love Bites turbo thing. Band photo. Which now that I think about it, there's all kinds of Priest memorabilia. This could go on for an hour and a half, so part 2. There's all kinds of stuff I'm thinking of now. That is Hellbent for Leather. Plus my shed, the artwork on my shed that has to go in. Priest. Screaming for Vengeance. Of course, the classic British Steel. And the logo, my favorite. They should have never went away from this logo. I didn't like the newer one. Here's the logo. I just really thought that was classy. And then heading out to the highway. And that's it. There's a couple little mini pins I just threw in there. The Ramones, Black Sabbath, Motorhead. Alrighty, everyone. Like I said, I'll have to break this up because we didn't get into collectible stuff, 45s, albums, other stuff, my shed. So, part 1 is done. Peace.